a falcon fiercely guarding a tiny, vulnerable kitten as if it were its own. For the rescue team, the day began like many others, dedicated to their daily street feeding routine. They were in the midst of caring for the local stray animals, ensuring they had nourishment and a moment of kindness in their often harsh lives. Suddenly, their routine was interrupted by the excited voices of children. The children approached them, their words tumbling out in a rush, telling them about an unconscious kitten nearby. The team immediately followed the children, their hearts already heavy with concern. The children led them to a spot not far from where they were feeding. There, nestled in a somewhat sheltered area, lay a tiny kitten, seemingly lifeless. It was heartbreaking to see such a small creature so vulnerable and still. One of the team members gently scooped up the kitten. It was limp and unresponsive, barely breathing. They knew they had to act fast. As they tended to the first kitten, a closer look at the immediate surroundings revealed something even more concerning. Just next to where they found the first kitten, almost hidden in plain sight, was another kitten. Then, unbelievably, they discovered yet another, tucked away inside an old, discarded pot. It was a litter, abandoned and left to fend for themselves in the unforgiving environment. The kittens were all incredibly small, appearing to be from the same litter, and judging by their condition, they hadn't been alone for very long. Their immediate priority shifted to finding the mother. Kittens this young are completely dependent on their mother for survival. They knew she couldn't be far. They started to search the area, calling out softly, hoping to coax her out if she was nearby and perhaps hiding, scared or injured. It didn't take long before they spotted her. She was indeed close by, partially concealed within some bushes, watching them with wary eyes. The mother cat was clearly frightened, her posture tense and ready to bolt. They understood her fear. Humans can often represent danger to stray animals. They knew they had to approach her with utmost caution and patience to gain her trust. They decided the best approach was to offer her food. They had some jelly cat food with them, a tempting and easily digestible option. Slowly and gently, they extended the food towards her, speaking in soft, reassuring tones. Initially, she remained hesitant, her eyes fixed on them, gauging their intentions. They kept their movements slow and non-threatening, letting her observe them. They placed the food a little distance away from them, retreating slightly to give her space and signal that they meant no harm. It was a delicate dance of trust-building. After a tense moment of hesitation, hunger finally overcame her fear. She cautiously crept forward, her eyes still fixed on them, but her focus now drawn to the enticing aroma of the food. She began to eat slowly, tentatively at first, and then with more eagerness, as she realized they weren't going to harm her. They extended a hand, again slowly and deliberately. They gently began to stroke her, offering soft, loving pats. She responded by leaning into their touch, a clear indication that she was now accepting their affection and care. With the mother cat now comfortable and trusting, the next step was the crucial reunion with her kittens. The moment she saw them, any remaining trace of fear or uncertainty vanished. She immediately began licking them, nuzzling them, showering them with affection. It was a heartwarming display of instinctive motherly love, reassuring them that they had done the right thing. She started purring loudly, a rumbling sound of contentment and relief, as she recognized her babies and began to care for them, just as they were feeling a sense of relief and accomplishment at reuniting the mother cat with her kittens. the children, who had initially alerted them to the kittens, approached again. This time, their story was even more unbelievable. They told them, with wide-eyed wonder, about a falcon they had seen in a nearby tree, insisting that this falcon had adopted a kitten. A falcon adopted a kitten. At first, they couldn't help but think the children were joking or perhaps misinterpreting what they had seen. Falcons are birds of prey, hunters, not nurturers of kittens. It seemed impossible, a whimsical tale spun by imaginative young minds. But the children were persistent, their earnestness convincing. They insisted on showing them the spot. The children led them to a tall tree, and as they approached, they were prepared to see, well, they weren't sure what they expected to see, but certainly not what was actually before their eyes. There was indeed a falcon. And nestled securely beneath its wing, completely sheltered and seemingly content, was a tiny kitten. They were utterly astonished. It was a scene that defied logic and expectation. A falcon, a creature known for its fierce hunting prowess, was acting as a protector, a guardian, to a vulnerable kitten. They couldn't believe what they were seeing. They cautiously approached, wanting to get a closer look at the kitten. But as they made a move to gently reach for the kitten, the falcon reacted instantly and fiercely. It became incredibly agitated. It began to strike at them with its beak, sharp and forceful pecks aimed to deter them. It was clear. The falcon perceived them as a threat. In its mind, they were trying to take away the kitten it had taken under its wing. It was defending the kitten with the full force of its protective instincts. They immediately backed away, realizing that any attempt to intervene directly would be met with aggression and would likely stress both the falcon and the kitten. The mother of these kittens had been missing for several days. This explained why the falcon might have intervened. Perhaps, in its own way, it recognized the kitten's vulnerability and stepped in to fill a void. Initially, they had only been told about one kitten with the falcon, but as they spoke to more people, they learned that there might be another kitten involved. After searching the area again, they indeed found another kitten, hidden nearby. It seemed to be from the same litter as the others. The pieces of the puzzle were falling into place, painting a clearer, albeit heartbreaking picture. People in the area recounted a tragic event. The kitten's mother had been hit by a car. Passers-by, witnessing the accident, had tried to help her, but in her pain and fear, she had bitten them in return. Misinterpreting her defensive reaction as aggression, people had unfortunately left her alone, assuming she was beyond help, perhaps even already dead. But the poor cat, despite her injuries, had not succumbed immediately. She had simply fainted from the shock and trauma of the accident. Armed with this new information and a renewed sense of urgency, they immediately went to the location where the injured mother cat had last been seen. They found her lying unconscious on the side of the street, just as described. People had indeed left her, thinking she had already expired. Time was of the essence. One of their team members swiftly and carefully transported her to the nearest veterinary clinic. At the vet, it was confirmed that she had been hit by a car, likely while trying to move her kittens to a safer location. She'd been bravely trying to protect her young when tragedy struck. Back at the location where they found the falcon and kittens, they realized something else. Next to the unconscious mother cat when she was found was another kitten. It was heartbreaking to imagine the scene. The injured mother collapsing from her injuries and her tiny kitten lying beside her, perhaps placed there by a well-meaning but ultimately unhelpful passerby, or perhaps simply unable to leave its mother's side. With the mother cat now receiving urgent veterinary care, they turned their attention back to the falcon and the kittens. They carefully retrieved the 3 kittens, the 2 from the nest and the one they had found earlier. They then approached the falcon again, this time with the kittens in their arms. As they held the kittens, the falcon's demeanor shifted. It showed a great deal of concern, its eyes fixed on the kittens, almost as if pleading with them not to take them away. It was a poignant moment. Witnessing the falcon's clear distress at the prospect of losing the kittens it had so diligently protected. Witnessing the falcon's deep protectiveness, and knowing the area was unsafe for both the cat family and the falcons, they made a crucial decision. They decided to take both the falcons, male and female, as they later determined, and the entire cat family with them. It was a commitment to provide them with safety, care, and a chance at a better life.